Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Pure Nintendo Podcast. This is your weekly dose of all things Nintendo. My name is Jemma. Joining me this week, I have my good friend Kirk. Welcome back, Kirk.
Hello.
Hello. And joining us this week, we have a very special guest in the form of Barry from Premium Edition Games. Welcome back to the show, Barry.
Hello, always a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, welcome. We love having you on the show. Barry is such an insightful guest, knows a lot about the gaming industry, and obviously very passionate about physical media as well. Quick question for you, actually, Barry. We've been talking, Kirk and I, on the show about how we refer to the physical media of a Switch, because we wanted to call it a cartridge, but we thought that might be old school, like a Super Nintendo cartridge. What do you call it? Is it a card or a cart or a cartridge? How do you refer to
Usually
those
call it a
little?
game card,
Yep.
but
Okay.
cartridge also works.
Hey, there you go, Kirk. We were right all along.
Oh, okay. It's good to be correct.
It is sometimes, yes.
We were going to combine them, weren't we? Like Cardridge or something?
Yeah, I think we were. Yes. So thank you for settling that for us, Barry.
You're welcome.
And
So do we have anything else outstanding we need to have settled real quickly?
yeah, it's good to have a third party to kind of to give us that opinion. So
Barry gets to decide everything for us. We appreciate that.
Oh,
yes,
that's too
thank
much
you.
power. I do not deserve that.
You can do it. Great responsibility and all that. So. But Premium Edition Games, you guys do your regular direct presentations with updates on all the physical media that's coming to gamers in the near future. So we thought we'd go through your latest one, which dropped, I think it was about 2 weeks ago or week and a half or so.
Monday the 25th of March.
25th. Yeah, it's not too long ago. In fact, it will be 2 weeks when this episode airs because we air on a Monday. So yeah, we'll go through the highlights or pretty much the most of the games that were mentioned, including one that we did talk about last time, and I happen to love because I reviewed this one, which is Carl, Carl, the robot, and there's some updates to this one. Do you want to give us a quick overview of what that entails for players?
Yeah. So Carl was supposed to be part of this series, and developers needed just a little more time. So we don't like to rush our developer partners or give them any crunch. So we told them, hey, you know what? Move on over. We'll move you to the summer and give you more time. We want the game to be as great as can be, and we want the game complete on cart. So anyone who purchases our physical will get the whole game preserved. So when Nintendo inevitably shuts down the server, you could play and enjoy all the content. But they are working on a free content patch, which Nintendo provided us a video and showed for the first time some of that footage, some of the new buildings that will be there in the dump as you complete chapters, and some of the new items you could buy. And the game, like Gemma said, is phenomenal. I can't even talk. We reviewed it over at Nintendo Views, and it was my indie game of the year for 2022. Like, it was just such a great game. So we're honored to be able to bring it out physically, but it'll take just a little more time. So we appreciate everyone's patience because I know we did announce it last year, but we wanted to be complete and we wanted to be done right, and hopefully everyone appreciates that.
Yeah, I think they will. And it's worth the wait anyway, because yeah, it is a really good game. It's a platformer, which, is my genre of choice. So always gonna love those. But yeah, you can tell that Nintendo, is that how you say his
Nintendo,
name?
yes.
Nintendo, yes. I'd written Nintendo Drew, and I'm like, that's not right. That's not that's not right. Nintendo, yeah, he's obviously very enthusiastic as well, passionate about the game. And seeing that little clip was awesome because you can see the love that's put into it. And if you've played the game, of course, and the original, then all of this extra content is really valuable and helps you come back and enjoy it even more. So definitely excited for that one. The next one is that you guys mentioned on the show was Gordian Quest Deck Builder,
Yes.
which is huge, right? Like it's got 700 cards and I think something like 800 skills.
Yep.
Can you tell us about this one? Because this is ready for release. Is that right?
Yeah, so
Or-
Guardian Quest is up for pre-order right now.
Mhm,
It's
mhm,
an RPG deck builder style game, but while it does have over 700 cards, it's not overwhelming. It's like beginner friendly. You don't have
mhm,
all those to begin with, and you can never get all those in your deck for each character. So each character has 4 different decks that they can draw from, and you get to pick which one you want them to start with. And they play very differently. So you could have, one guy be more of an attacker, be more one of a hybrid, more defender. Like, you could kind of choose what style each of the 10 heroes play as. You get to choose which of them you have in your party, and then you get skill tree, and you can from the skill tree you can pull cards from those other decks to make your own, pretty much your own personal deck. But this is a 20 to 30 hour adventure. It has a lot of Dungeons and Dragons elements, a lot of roll for initiative kind of deals, and will you escape, and uh the traps, and do you want to follow this person into the woods or not, like it's a lot of
Mhm.
fun. There's an overarching story, the battles are great, and yeah, there's just so much to this game. There's also a roguelike mode that is separate from the main story if you just want to go in there and just have a few battles and have some fun. And
Mm.
we're honored to bring this out from Mixed Realms. This is just truly one epic adventure, and people have been asking us for an RPG, so we finally can get an RPG, one of many now that out there for everybody. So yes, it is available for pre-order right now.
Awesome. Yeah, every time I hear RPG, I always think of Kirk, and I don't know if this is your style or not because you love RPGs and JRPGs in particular, but deck building, is that up your alley or not really?
Deck building kind of scares me.
Uh,
I don't know why it is. I feel like if I have cards, now there's too much strategy involved in it.
we'll see. That's just it. This is much simpler. Like there are deep levels that you can get into. Um, Depending on how much you want to go. But every turn, your character gets 3 turns at the base. I mean, you can enhance it. So you get to play 3 cards. Each card has a cost. So one means it costs 1 turn. Two means it costs 2 of your turns. And then some cards will piggyback off each other, where it'll be like, oh, this does 15 damage, but if you played, another one of these this turn, it now does 18 damage. So you can kind of piggyback, or playing one
Mm,
card makes another card cost less. And then there's like a meter, like the more damage you do, you fill up a meter. That's a special meter, and that special meter um, will be able to play different cards. So like certain cards can only be played using that special meter, but those special meter are like outside of your 3 turns. So you can play a fourth or a fifth card, and like it
yeah,
sounds a little more complicated, but like once you play, you're like, oh, this totally makes sense, and it's a lot of fun. And again, your
yeah,
hand is only like 15 cards like total. Like you'll draw every turn, but like you're only drawing from a set of 15 or so, like to start with. So it's not overwhelming at all.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
it doesn't. Yeah,
that kind of makes sense to me. It's the way I've always looked at it is like that's kind of the way all the games work. If they're deck builders or not, it's just like physically having all of your abilities and the different like things that you could do written on a card somehow makes the strategy seem more. I don't know. It's just always been weird to me, even though it's basically the same thing, just approached differently, as opposed to one where you're getting the same kind of skills and you're using them in the same way that can buff other skills. But if it's on a physical card that you're drawing, that changes the gameplay somewhat, just enough that it always kind of threw me a little bit. And maybe I just need to get over that hump, and this is the game that will allow me to do it.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
you
for
know
sure.
what? Absolutely. It's well worth taking the dive in, because it starts you off really easy. And especially if you play on the easier difficulty, like you don't even have to go into the skill tree, and you can get quite far before you're like, maybe I should look at that system. And there's equipment
Mm,
too, and some equipment will give you cards. Like these gloves will give you the card magic missile for your deck, and will also like enhance magic missiles damage by like 5 points or whatever. So if you have other magic missiles already in your deck, that's great. Or it might give you other abilities, like, oh, up your strength or your dexterity. And certain equipment, actually, like Dungeons and Dragons, you need certain strength or certain dexterity to equip and stuff like that.
mm. Yeah, there's a lot to it. I'm a little bit in the same boat as Kirk. I've not really delved into like deck builders previously. I'm always very interested, and I just haven't had the chance to. So maybe also for me, this is a good one. It does sound super fun, to be honest. And I love RPGs. Yeah, I don't know why I don't know why deck builders scare me a little also, but I'm super keen to give it a go. So thank you for that, Barry. Thank you for the
Mhm.
overview and letting us know and encouraging us all to give deck builders a go. So Gordian Quest sounds super fun. next, let's look at some of the Kickstarter updates that you talked about. And there were quite a few. And I love that one of the things that Premium Edition Games does so well is obviously supporting developers and giving them a chance to, I don't know, be out there in the world and give them exposure to gamers, to players. So there's 4 here that we wanted to talk about. The first one is Poglings, which I think we did talk about previously. So do you
Hmm.
want to give an update on that one? Because there was some gameplay footage, or it wasn't actual gameplay footage, was it?
No, it
That
was
was shown?
gameplay
It
footage.
was gameplay footage? Yeah, cool.
Yeah, it was new gameplay footage. I think it was from January 31st.
Mhm,
Um, that we were able to get. It's the latest gameplay footage shown. It's the game's still in development. This is like if Sonic never abandoned the Chow Gardens from the Sonic Adventure series and continued it. So you get to raise Poglings
mhm.
on your island. You get some Animal Crossing-esque features as well while you're exploring the island and building your camp. And you can train them to race. You could train them to sumo wrestle. There's a bunch of different
Yeah.
activities. There's like the paraglider from Breath of the Wild is in there, allowing you to explore more. There's a lot to this game, and we're really excited to be working with Yojoka to bring this out. But again, it is still in development, so you can show your support to the team by wish listing on Steam. But we will have the game itself going up for physical pre-order on our website when the game is done, and we want to make sure that
Mhm,
it's done and the bug
mhm.
fixes and all that stuff. Just want to make sure it's good, and that's when it'll go up. So we're really excited for it. We're happy to be assisting and giving them a platform to continue to give updates. We look
Yeah.
forward to it soon. When it's done, it's done. We're not going to rush them. So you know,
Totally. And I love that you do the updates because that's, for fans who do watch, to follow the show, Premium Edition Games, or follow you guys, to see the progress being made over time, I don't know, it helps not only I don't want to use the word convince because you don't need convincing, the game already looks good, but it helps keep people on track and it kind of, gosh, I don't even wanna say accountable, but it it does make them accountable. Do you know what I mean? Like, we know, like, and maybe not all players know, but generally, I think we know games take a long time to make. They're not especially these kinds of ones that have a lot of, different aspects to them. It's not a simple thing. It's not something you can make in a day or a week or a month or even a
no.
year. It's like they take a long time. So to see that progress over time, I think is really important and gives people that context that there's a development process, right? Like you said, there's bugs that need fixing out. You got to go through test phases, character development, story, and all of that. There's a lot to it. So I'm enjoying seeing Poglings develop further and further. And this one, like you said, when they showed the race, that was cool, like the racing of the little Poglings.
Hmm.
Then they showed what looked like a sumo ring, and I was like, "Wait, are they sumo wrestling?"
Yeah.
And like, that is cool. So that's really unique and special. I love that. So yeah, that's definitely one to look out for. Can't wait to hear more about that one as it progresses. The next one I think we also mentioned briefly last time as well, which was new, I think, last time, Kristala.
Hmm.
Um, Now this is a dark fantasy action RPG with cats. Is that the best way to describe
That is
it?
the best way to describe it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a Souls-like style game, action RPG with because you're a cat, you have tons of different acrobatic abilities. You climb, you can run on tight ropes, you can, swing, you can jump down and like pounce on enemies. There's a ton you can do. And all the footage you were seeing was new footage. So the game was a Kickstarter last year, and there will be a new demo coming out later this month, I believe. And there's also an early access in May on the PC. So you could absolutely wish list it to support them there. But we also have the backer kit, so you can support the game via their backer kit, including getting our physical Kickstarter exclusive version for PlayStation 5. The game is also coming to Switch. We haven't announced a physical for Switch yet. We want to wait and see how it runs on the Switch because this is quite the graphically intensive game.
Yeah, it looks like it. Kirk, did you get a chance to glimpse this one? I'm just curious, again, because it's RPG and I always think of you. But also the cats aspect. I love the cats aspect because they're kind of like humanoid cats, I guess, like they're standing on 2 legs, right?
Yeah.
There's actually a better word for that than humanoid. Kirk probably knows.
Anthropomorphic.
Yes, that's it. Thank you. It just looks awesome. But yeah, what did you think, Kirk?
Yeah, no, I love the look of it. In fact, the thing that I really liked, speaking of the cat design, is they are anthropomorphic, but like the cat head was 100% a cat head, not like a
Yeah.
human head with cat elements. These are the animals that they're
Hmm.
actually depicting. I thought it was a very cool look, and the game does look fun. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I do love the look of the cat people. It's awesome. Yeah, very cool. Very, very cool. Thank you, Barry, for that one. The next one is probably, I would say, one of my favorites on this list, which is Godshard Chronicles. Is that a surprise to you? No.
No,
It's
not a surprise at
amazing.
all.
Oh my gosh, this one looks so, so good. It's like a Mana inspired. There are other inspirations, but Mana, I love Secret of Mana. So for me, this really stands out. It's a two-player action RPG.
Hmm.
Um, and the music is another highlight as well, composed by, I might butcher this, Noriyuki Iwadare.
It
I don't
works.
know. Is that correct? Yeah, it works. Uh, you'd think with all my Duolingo practice in Japanese, I'd be better at this, but no. um, yeah. So tell us about this one because it just looks so so good.
Yeah, so this is a phenomenal action RPG inspired by Mana, by the Zelda series, by the Lunar series. It is 1 to 2 players, so you don't have to have 2 players, but it's 2 player co-op. We haven't really seen that in an action RPG in a while.
Mm,
Like you said, the music has a huge pedigree, and the Kickstarter itself smashed so many stretch goals. It just kept going, so we got new music composed by the composers from like Final Fantasy 11, Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, Grandia. We've got scenario writers from like Wild Arms and Lunar, and it's just like the who's who of RPG, classic RPGs, is being a part of this, and it's great. One of the stretch goals also was a prologue game. It was pretty much a precursor to the main game, following one of the main characters who is voiced by John Truitt, who did Galleon from the Lunar series.
mm,
And it's a 5-hour prequel game. And it's a
cool.
bonus game, and we hit that goal. So that's an additional thing that we're going to get on the cartridge and the disc. So we'll have that. So you got the complete experience. This Kickstarter, as of this point, has ended, but there will be a backer kit set up. So if it's not set up by the time you're listening to this, check back with them. Wish listed on Steam. Join their Discord. Join our Discord. We'll make an announcement. Follow us on social media. We'll announce when the backer kit's up. And that way you can support this game, because this game is it's incredible, and it's done so well, and we're all internally so excited for this, as well as all of our titles. But yeah, it's a dream that we were able to make this happen, and be a part of the Kickstarter.
Yeah, super exciting. And yeah, like you said, it smashed that goal. It's something like 4 or 5 times the
Yeah, it was
amount the amount
almost 6 times. It was
6 times?
10,000
Yeah.
shy of 6 times the goal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I want to support it myself, but it is closed, so I will definitely be keeping an eye out because this is one that definitely piques my interest. So yeah, it just looks amazing. The footage that you guys showed, and hopefully I can embed it into our YouTube clip as well for listeners. Just it, yeah, you'll see the mana references. It just looks so beautiful, like very,
And
very cool design.
every time I hear that theme song too, I tear up. It's so beautiful. And one of the
Hmm.
stretch goals, because it's in Japanese, one of the stretch goals is we're gonna get it re-recorded in English by
Oh,
Jennifer
cool.
True by yeah, Jennifer. She did the Lunar English vocals.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's like, oh cool, we're getting it re-recorded. Again, more RPG pedigree.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fantastic. So it's so good to hear these success stories from these developers, They're all of the games that you guys support are fantastic and I just love hearing that support. It's such a community feeling. I feel like it's just, building that community, building that awareness and getting everyone on board and in this world that positivity just makes me feel so good. So, yeah.
Yeah, you need it.
Um yeah, totally. Kirk, did you have anything to add to that one? Was that one that stood out to you at all? Or is anything else you wanted to add?
Oh yeah, this looks very much like my kind of game. I did have a question with the
Yeah.
two-player component. I understand how that could happen during combat, but let's say during like the menu items or when the story elements are being pushed. Do both people, are they able to control that, or is there like one person who kind of is command of the A button as we're going through those elements?
I would
Mm,
imagine it's whoever pushes start and goes into the menu would
mm.
get to control it. but I don't know the true answer to that question as of this time because there's a demo coming, but that is definitely something that I'm sure will be addressed. But my way I figure is whoever pushes start or whoever opens the menu would get control of the menu.
Okay.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, that
I
makes
ask
sense.
because it's the kind of game I would like to play with my kids, but they tend to be a little less patient on some of those items. So I want to make sure that nothing gets skipped
Yeah.
while I'm trying to figure things out.
That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah, I do love that two-player aspect because, Secret of Mana was I think a three-player game
Those
back
three
in the
player,
day.
yeah.
Yeah. So and that was super cool. I played that with my sister a lot growing up, so yeah, looking forward to that one for sure. The next one also looks pretty cool, and this is called Atomic Owl, which is like a platformer, I guess, right? Or a roguelike platformer, would you call it?
Yeah, it's like a roguelike Sonic the Hedgehog. It's an
Mhm.
action neo roguelike game where you play as a ninja owl with a talking demonic blade that can transform into multiple things like a hammer and a whip and other weapons. And it's fast paced. It's, really just high octane. It's the kind of thing where if you die, it's your fault. You got to come back and get better, and you get stronger each time. You get different equipment and different items. It's got a synth wave, music soundtrack. It just sounds incredible. It's got like a cyberpunk setting, and this one is live right now, and will be live when this podcast goes live. So it's still active and it is funded. So it's just
Mhm.
working on stretch goals. So please go to the Kickstarter, support it. We have our Switch and PS5 physicals with the Kickstarter exclusive covers and everything. So give them some support because this is a really cool game.
Yeah, absolutely. It does look super cool. I love that description. What did you say, Sonic?
Roguelike
Like
Sonic the Hedgehog.
roguelike Sonic. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a cool way to put it. And I love that when you die, you get some sort of upgrade or extra help to
Hmm.
continue to progress further each time. Because that's often a bit of an issue with these styles of games, I think, that
Yes.
it's a bit punishing. For me at least, I'm not necessarily the best at these, but I do love platformers though, so and I love Sonic, so from that perspective, I'm definitely excited. And it looks great, like you said, the music. I love that synth wave kind of aesthetic. I think they talked about on your show, it was a
Yep.
bit of a 90s inspired theme to it. And yeah, the composer spoke as well, didn't he? He was really
Yeah, he was
excited. And
there.
yeah, it sounded really cool. And I think it suits that genre because it needs to be kind of that fast paced, situation to go with the gameplay, right? You need that kind of adrenaline surge behind you as well, pushing you along. It really matches or suits the style, I think. Yeah, definitely cool. Did you have anything on that one, Kirk? What did you think of that one?
Well, this one I didn't look at because when we were bouncing down the list and I saw the next one, I got too excited and had to move ahead.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, you need to check out Atomic Owl because you can still back this right now. And remember, backing a Kickstarter, not only do you get the game and you get the bonus perks, but by helping them reach stretch goals, you're actually making the game better because they'll be able to use that money to increase the gameplay or increase the items in the game or all the different aspects of it. So, you're not only getting the game, but you're actively making it better and more content, and that's awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool. Absolutely. How far into development is the team with this one?
This one they're gonna have a demo. I think the demo might even go live before the Kickstarter ends, but
Mhm.
it's a good chunk in already. But they're using Kickstarter to kind of get themselves the rest of the way. The main developer, I believe, worked on Borderlands, so he's got
Okay.
his own little art, pedigree, so to speak, and clearly his talent just shows just looking at the trailer and seeing it, just incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Thank you. Well, let's move on to that next one that Kirk was excited about, which is an exciting one. And so this is now Series 8 releases that we're talking
Yeah.
about for you for Premium Edition games. By Series 8, what do we specifically mean by that? That's like a phase of time that we're releasing games physically. Is that right?
So whenever we've released games, we release them in what we call series,
Hmm.
meaning a group of games together, and we give them their time to shine before moving on to the next series. We wanna get them, you know, give them time to breathe. So we've always grouped all our games into series anywhere between 2 and 4 games. Like last
Mhm.
time I was on, we were talking Series 7, and and the time before that, Series 6. So that's how we've done it since we've started. We just decided to start grouping them that way, and we do the directs based on the seasons because some people, what do you mean Series 8? So that's why like
Mhm.
the directs used to be called, like, I think Series 4 Direct was Series 4 Direct, Series 3 Direct, and 2. I think they were all series until the fifth Direct, and that way we started doing, oh, that's gonna be fall and then spring, and we started calling the
Yeah.
directs that way because the general audience would understand, but we still refer to the games as series because it's a
Mhm.
group.
Mhm. Yeah, awesome. That makes perfect sense. I love that. So the first of your Series 8 releases that we're gonna talk about is called Tadpole Treble Encore by Bitfinity,
Hmm.
which is a rhythm platformer, and, this looks insane. I hadn't heard of this, but Kirk had. Kirk has definitely heard of this one. In fact, we reviewed it on Pure Nintendo a couple of years ago. So,
We did
yeah,
back in
you
February
did.
of 2021,
No.
2021.
Well, what
Yeah,
did you
wow.
think of it then, Kirk?
I gave it an 8 out of 10. I quite enjoyed it. It's one of those games where it sits in the queue and you have no idea what it is, and then you pick it up and you're like, I'm so glad that I took this game because it ended up being a lot more fun than I initially thought it would.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that sounds right. Yeah.
yeah, it took us
Um,
by surprise too.
yeah, the trailer is insane, and I was talking to Kirk, before the show. I love the developers' little bit that they did where they were kind of
Yes.
yeah, acting all posh and had the dog on their lap, and they were talking about collectibles, and then they did this whole thing. It suited the game very well because it seems like a very different approach to a game. Like, it's very, I don't know, exciting, like, it's very big in its personality almost, if that makes sense. It seems loud, I guess, almost in a way, right? Like, bombastic kinda thing, um, in a good way. These are all good attributes that I'm describing here, but you do wanna tell us about, from your perspective, Barry, Tadpole Treble Encore?
Yeah, so this is another Kickstarter game that was funded and came to critical acclaim when it came out, and it was a Wii U title
Mhm.
and digital only Wii U title. So they brought it to Switch with a bunch of new features, and of course the Wii U shop is no longer around, so you can't even enjoy the Wii U original. So this is the only way to play it now. And this is a rhythm platforming game where you play as a tadpole trying to get back home, going down the stream, and every level it's the music bar. And unlike standard music rhythm games where you try and hit the notes, here you try to avoid them. The notes are bad.
Right. Yeah,
So
okay.
you got to dodge the notes, but you're also playing to the beat of the music, which is really really cool. A lot of different enemies and elements into each level. Some levels have you go backwards. The songs are all original. Every level has its own original song, and some of them get really crazy or hilarious or funny, and some of the levels just
Mm.
ramp up the difficulty, but at the same time, it's even when you fail, it's like, all right, one more time, let's go. And then it even has a
Yeah.
music editor where you can actually make your own levels, so you can make your own song like Mario Paint, and then you can
Mhm.
then play your song as in play the level, and you can experience that. And it's really cool that they did that. But there's a lot of content. It's just a very unique platformer, and we all fell in love with it as we played it. We're like, this is just different. This is not
Mm.
like a Mario clone kind of deal. Like, this is a really different style game, and we just loved it. We're so happy to see such positive responses when we brought it out, because again, there's so many games on the eShop that I think a lot of people forget, or they just don't
Mhm.
even see or have any knowledge that this game exists. So it's great that we
Totally.
could bring it to the forefront. And like you mentioned Toronto Brothers video, we just told them what in the general, what we tell everybody, talk about your game, sell your game,
Yeah.
pretty much we leave it up to you. And they went very hard, and we really appreciate that. They did not have to do that, but they really
Yeah.
wanted to just have fun with it, and we love it, and we're glad so many people love it too.
Oh, yeah, it definitely stood out to me. It made me laugh, literally out loud. I was laughing out loud. It was just so unique and cool. I just really enjoyed it. I just love that sense of humor as well. I just
Yep.
think that's really cool. Yeah.
And that translates into the game because the game has that sense of humor
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I sensed, that it really matched that. And I haven't played the game, obviously, but I did see the trailer, and obviously Kirk's review. Um, so yeah, I'm very excited by this. And did you have anything else to add, Kirk, since you're the most familiar with it, of the two of us at least? Barry's obviously familiar.
No, I think the one thing I would point out is the replay value that the game has. It
Hmm.
doesn't take that long to actually get through the story, but if you're a completionist, it's going to take an awful lot longer. Some of
Hmm.
the things you can do are quite difficult to pull off, and as you mentioned, as Barry mentioned, the music editor, if you are at all musically inclined, you can go in and kind of create your own levels to play. That's fun. Like I said, I think I pointed out in my review, I do know how to write music. I play a few instruments, but it, writing a song and putting it within a game is kind of a a different thing. So
Yeah.
it's sort of like a fun way to explore that, and it gives you an appreciation, not only
Mm.
for songwriting, but for songwriting within that kind of context.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's really cool. Thank you so much for that update from both of you. The next one is another one that I'm actually pretty excited about. It just looks very, very cool, which is Scarlet Tower. Now, this is an RPG with wave-based combat. Is that
Hmm.
how you describe it? Yep. And I mean, it looks awesome. I love this style of game. It to me it looked like, and I think you guys might have even mentioned this. There was a Vampire Survivors kind of element
Mm.
to it.
Yes,
Yeah.
we
Tell us
hinted
about this
at it
one.
without
Yeah.
saying the name
Yeah. Yeah.
outright.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we took care of that for you.
Yeah.
We did. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is similar to Vampire Survivors in terms of the gameplay. You auto attack and you choose a direction, and as you kill enemies, you level up. But it's so much more. There's so many more elements to this. There's like 7 different characters. They've got skill trees. They've got different skills on top of like the traits, and then there's different like attacks that you can choose. And every time you do a run, you get currency, and you could upgrade, or you could purchase a new hero. So you can kind of play around with it. As you level up, you get to choose one of 3 different enhancements that you want, and each of the enhancements has multiple levels that you can level them up. So it really can get crazy. There's a day-night system. So some skills are more powerful during the day, some more powerful during the night. So you got to watch out for that. And the enemies, there's like so many enemies coming after you, and there's like bullet hell elements, and the bosses are really unique and crazy, and it's got this Castlevania-esque like art style, and it just
Mhm.
is so much content to this game. We were floored when we got the chance to look at this, and this isn't even on the Switch yet. It's in digital lot check right now. So we're gonna have the pre-order pretty much around the same time that the digital version goes up, and we're gonna of course gonna let the any bugs get ironed out before we do the physical. But you can at least pre-order it, show your support now, and get your pre-order dog tag. But it's just an incredible game that we were honored. We were like, oh, this is such a cool title, and there's none of these style games even have a physical. Like even Vampire Survivors doesn't have a
Hmm.
physical.
Hmm.
So it's like,
That's
oh, we're
true.
going to be the first ones pretty much to market with one of these style of RPGs with a physical, like to the physical market, and that's cool. And I've played Vampire Survivors, I've played Scarlet Tower, and to me, Scarlet Tower blows Vampire Survivors out of the water.
Wow. Okay, that's saying something because I do love Vampire Survivors. I talk about that semi regularly. Kirk will attest to that. In
It's
fact, I
true.
want to
She
talk about it.
does.
I do. Yeah, it was one of my highlights of last year, I think. It was just so much fun. So that's probably why this game speaks to me because I saw it and I'm like, this looks fun. I like the look of this. The day night elements in particular seems like a really cool twist on the formula as well, having that, a kind of, I guess is it a clock or a sun or something that counts
Yeah, there's
down?
a
Yeah.
clock, and if you look in the footage, it's in the top right corner. You'll see a day and
Mm.
night, and you'll see the meter. And like I was doing a run where I had like this insane amount of region at night, and my skills were doing more damage at night, and it was nighttime, and I was blowing things away. I'm like, this is awesome. And then the Reaper came out at 30 minutes to kill you, and I'm like, aha, Reaper, you hit me, and I'm just region right back. And I'm getting him low, and I get him to like 20%, and I'm watching the clock, and I'm watching it tick slower to daytime, and I'm like, no, 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 can I do it? And it hits daytime, and the Reaper goes, and I'm like, there goes my region and all my power, and I'm dead. It was just funny because I started building myself around that particular nighttime. I was like, I'm just gonna overpower myself, but
Yeah.
in doing so, I underpowered myself when the clock changed. So it's kind of
Yeah.
neat how it gives you, and that's just one character. Every character has different skills. Every character plays different. So
Mm.
there's a lot to choose from. There's a lot of replay until you find who you like and what you like. And even when you do, you might wind up falling in love with somebody else after you try it. So
Yeah,
it's really
that's
cool.
so cool. Yeah, really, really cool. That's awesome. So did I hear this correctly? Pre-orders open on the 22nd of April. Would that be correct
Yeah,
on your site?
pre-orders
Yeah.
27, and when this goes live, pre-orders for Tadpole go live the same day. Yeah,
Hmm. Cool.
so it's really cool. So
Awesome. Yeah, that's two really, really awesome games. And I mean, all the games we talked about today have been fantastic, to be honest. I get so excited when I watch your directs. I really do. I just like want everything. Just
that's
it
the
all just
idea.
looks
That's what
so
we
cool.
shoot for.
Yeah, well, you're hitting the target there. So, and then I guess the final thing, and I also love this little aspect that you do, which is the hype button that you
Of
have at the end of
course.
the show. You gotta hit the hype button, and it's the last little teaser, I suppose, or extra little bit of content for fans. So the last game that you guys talked about that we'll talk about today is called Curse Crackers, and the subtitle is "For Whom the Bell Toils." Um, and I had not heard of this, and you can probably imagine being a platformer that this one immediately stood out to me as well. So this is Belle is the main character, right? And she's
Mhm.
got a little Belle. So her name
Yep.
is Belle Belle, but she has a
hmm
Belle companion, Belle. And what's her story? She's saving her boyfriend, I think. I love the
Yep.
twists on the formula where it's like the heroine is saving the male for once, I mean, it's 2024. It's not super new now, but I just love that, this is standard now. We can have a girl doing this. We can have a female heroine, a heroine rescuing a male. It's totally fine. Tell us more about this one. How did this
Yeah.
come to you guys, and what can we expect for this
Yeah, what's
release?
what's funny is this isn't even the first game we've done with that type of plot because we did Wife Quest back in
Mm,
Series 6
yes, that's
where you
right.
were trying to rescue your husband.
Yeah.
So it's pretty funny. Like I was like, oh man, this is too funny that we have two games like this now. But
Yeah.
yeah, so Curse Crackers is it's just a phenomenal action platformer that you could speed run it, you could take your time. There's a ton of different elements and stuff to hunt down in each level, collectibles. It uses a really cool Game Boy Color or Game Boy in the Super Game Boy style of aesthetics that just translates so nicely. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh, this is like being a kid again. And it's just a very fluid platformer. There's a ton of levels. The bosses are really unique. They're like think outside the box kind of thing. And there's sub quests. Like there's actually towns you go to and you could talk to characters and get little side quests. And everyone just has such a good charm. And of course, there's a giant dog you can pet because who doesn't like a giant dog?
I
And you have to be
saw
able to pet
that.
dogs.
I love that. My son and I
Yeah.
saw that at the end, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, look at that giant dog."
But
So cool.
no, this is just one of those titles that I hadn't heard of, the team hadn't heard of, and I was just on Facebook one day or Twitter one day, and it was just an ad. Like they just decided to throw an ad up because it came on the eShop, and like many games and many stories we've heard before, it just
Mm,
sank to the bottom, and no one's heard of it. And
yeah.
I saw the ad, and I was just like, I need to get in contact. And it took me a while to find the right people and get in contact, and for them to respond and realize I'm not just a bot or something like that.
Yeah.
And we talked and we worked out, and it was just they're really Color Grave is so passionate. What a great team.
Mm.
So we're honored to be able to work with them and bring this out. And I told them, I said, look, we want you for the hype. Like we said, we want you for the hype. And
Yeah,
I
nice.
hope it gives them extra attention. I hope that it helps their sales digitally. I hope that people come back and do the physical when we put it up later this year, because this is a game that deserves preserving. This is a game that deserves to be in your collection, especially if you love platformers and action platformers and games like Shantae and Mario and stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's just so much fun, and really surprised that it was no one had done this before, because I was like, wait, seriously, like we get the honor of doing this? Like holy crap, we're so lucky.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And it definitely has Shantae vibes, Mario vibes. Yeah, absolutely. And which is why it speaks to me because I love those games as well. So Yeah, no, it is a surprise. It's just like you said, these games every week there's 10, 20 or more games released on the eShop. So the collection is huge. And it's very easy to miss some of these awesome titles. We can't even review them all. We try, as I'm sure you do as well on Nintendo Fuse. But
Yeah, it's impossible.
it's it's impossible. It is so hard to keep up with everything. So yeah, it's that's why it's really cool that these are plucked out of obscurity and highlighted, to give fans like us a chance to enjoy them. So yeah, that's great. Thank you. Did you have anything to add to that one, Kirk?
How does the bell come into play on this? I didn't see the video, so I'd just be curious how that's
So
used.
it's used in a bunch of different ways. So it's your weapon. So you can jump on enemies to hurt them, but the only other way to hurt them is you throw Bell at them. And when you throw Bell in whatever direction, she'll just keep going until it hits a wall. So if you throw her to the right and there's no immediate wall in front of you, she'll go off screen and she'll just keep going.
Oh,
So you can push the button again to call her back. And when she hits a wall, she'll ricochet. So, sometimes it's like you got to line up your shots, but you could also jump and throw her downwards and she'll hit the ground and bounce up, and you can bounce then off of her to get extra height, and you need to do that. That is a mechanic. And sometimes you need to do that like over pits to get across, and it's a really it works. It just works so well. And then of course the end of the stage, in order to exit, you need to throw Bell on to the ending goal, and you actually get points and rewarded in medals based on how far away you throw Bell to hit the goal. So if you could just stand right there and throw it and win, and you get like the grade 3 medal, and then if you're a little farther away you get the 2, and then if you're really far away you get the 1. And the puzzle is figuring out the best spot to throw her and getting your character, getting the other bell over to the end goal in time. And that's not easy. And they show an example of that in the trailer, and it is, they make it look way easier than it is. But again, you don't have to do that. That's not required. It's, again, it's a completionist. I want to do everything. I want to do every level perfectly.
mm,
And if as you speed run, as you learn to speed run, like that becomes one of the elements to end the level that much faster. So this game does cater to speed running, but there are other collectibles in the stage that you can go for. And yeah, there's just a ton to this game. It's quite big.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And that's, I guess, one of the things when you have an eShop listing and it's just got sort of some screenshots, it's hard to tell all that depth that's actually present. A trailer can do so much as well, but that's why it's awesome that you give it a chance to kind of expand upon that description and get us all excited for it. Because yeah, that sounds really cool.
Yeah,
I do love
we're
that.
honored. We're honored for all these titles. This all of our directs are labors of love, and this one was no exception. And it was actually the biggest one we've ever done. It was like, oh man, there's so much to come over, and there was still like something I was like, oh, I miss doing this, and I miss talking about
Oh
that.
yeah,
It's
right.
just there's so much going on, and this is just the beginning of 2024. 2024 is going to be jam packed. We've got a great lineup of titles coming later this year, and
Brilliant.
hopefully some surprises, and it's just an awesome experience.
That's fantastic. That's such a good wrap up of the show, of your show, of the direct. Listeners can check it out on YouTube, I guess, or go over to Premium Edition Games
Hmm.
website to see the full presentation. Is there
Yep.
anything else you wanted to say before we move on to the games that we're playing at the moment?
Yeah. So if any of these games sound interesting, you can do, Atomic Owl is live right now on Kickstarter, so support it. Godshard Chronicles will be getting a backer kit, so stay tuned and follow our social media to be alerted for that. Kristala does have a backer kit, so you can absolutely support there. And then for Series 8, as of the time of this recording, Gordian Quest and Tadpole Treble will be out, and Scarlet Tower shortly available for pre-order. And we also have the Mega Pack on our website, so you can get all 3 Series 8 titles all at one time. Just a click of a button, make it easy. On top of that, we have a ton of in stock games from Series 1 all the way to Series 5 right now. Series 6 will be up shortly. So, if you haven't tried our games before, you haven't even heard of us before, please go to premiumeditiongames.com, look through our catalog, pick up some games. Both both for the Switch, PlayStation, as well as the original NES. We've got original NES games, and we have Jim and Dill 1 and 2 are right now available for pre-order, and they are going quickly. So we want to make sure everybody can get the games that they really want and enjoy what they want.
Awesome. Yeah, fantastic. Thank you, Barry. Yeah, very exciting. Excuse me. Very exciting. The just the scope and breadth of content that's available physically via premium edition games. So love your work, absolutely. So get on, listeners, get on board, support the team, and get yourself some fantastic games physically to add to your collection. Let's move on to the games that we're playing right now. And I think we all have one to talk about. I'll start first. And this is my current review title, which is called Snufkin, Melody of Moomin Valley. And I believe Barry has also played this one, so you
Hmm.
can chime in when you want to. But I've been giving it some love this week. I'm a little behind in my review, but because it is out now, I believe it came out maybe at the end of
Yeah.
March. Yeah. So this is a how would you describe this? It's sort of a top-down, not a platformer, adventure style game.
Hmm.
I didn't know a lot about this, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but was this in one of the Nintendo Directs, the Indie Spotlight Direct?
It was in the
Briefly?
last Nintendo Direct, but it was at the very, very end on the sizzle reel.
Yeah, that's it. It was very, very short clip. So I did notice, I think that it was the main character was sitting on the bridge with his friend, that little clip that they showed. Anyway, this game has taken me by surprise, to be honest. It was one of those ones like Kirk alluded to earlier that kind of sat in the queue. And because I had noticed it in the direct, I was aware of it, but I really didn't know a lot about it. So I thought I'll pick it up and I'll give it a go. It's quite charming. It's a lovely little family-friendly title. My son, both my kids actually have been playing this on and off with me. You play the role of Snufkin. Is it a he? Actually, I'm not even sure.
Yeah, I
I
think it's
thought
a
it,
he.
I think it's a he. And he's living in this kind of village, and he has these little cute friends, and then he goes off for the winter, I think, and then comes back to see them, and things have changed. There's a lot of environmental messaging incorporated into the game, also a lot of musical elements, which I love. So he plays the harmonica, and then as you level up, you unlock other instruments like the flute. And these trigger things, like you use them to get animals to do things like birds fly for you and help you unlock. There's a lot of little puzzle elements to it. It's quite a it's charming, it's relaxing, there's a nice kind of vibe to it. It's not terribly difficult, I don't think, like, my kids are really enjoying it. It's not too taxing, it's very calming kind of influence. The music especially, because you can walk around, I think if you press the ZR button, I think, to make yourself play the flute or the harmonica, and you can just do that while you're walking, and I just do that half the time because it just sounds so cute and cool. And you meet all these people on the way, like, for example, and they're very quirky characters. You meet this ghost who's not a very successful ghost, and you help this ghost become a better ghost. There's like these little police people that are patrolling the area because this environmental aspect, they've kind of turned the wilderness into almost, um, how would you say, they've kind of, I don't know, they've taken over the wilderness and made it more like
They're pretty much trying to turn it into like a resort, and by doing
yeah,
that, it's
yes.
destroying the environments.
Exactly, and the animals have nowhere to go, and they're all really unhappy, and the police are patrolling the area. There's a lot of these little sneaky elements, which always reminds me of kind of those top-down Zelda games where you had to sneak behind a guard at Hyrule Castle and not get seen. It's like that, where you have to not be seen by the police, and you have to sneak through and do things. But then there are parts where you have to be seen. You need to lead the police to do certain things. So there's some really cool mechanics in there, some really cool puzzles. I'm really enjoying it a lot more than I expected, and I'm looking forward to writing up my thoughts and getting my review online, which I'll be doing very soon, hopefully in time for this podcast to launch, because I'm going to be in Japan next week, so that's going to be hard to finish then. But yeah, so that's me, Snufkin Melody of Moomin Valley. I have a couple other little games I'm playing that I'll talk to you if we have time, but let's talk about the main ones first. So let's go to Kirk, and you're playing something called Loretta.
Yes, this is a game that I picked up for review. It comes out on April 11th, I believe. Yes, April 11th. It's not for the faint-hearted. This game, and I don't mean that it's like gory or anything. It's a kind of like a 1940s detective noir story that
Nice.
is very heavy, and a lot of fun to play through. it follows this woman named Loretta who is married to a writer named Walter. And if someone's married to a writer already, we're in trouble. Um, they kind of have some problems. His parents die, so they move out of New York City into their farmhouse to kind of get a new start, and it just kind of like spirals into well, we'll say the opposite of a new start. We're heading towards an ending. In fact, Loretta, early in the game, and I don't think that this is any kind of spoiler to anybody, she kills her husband. That's one of the first things
Right.
that happens. And then we kind of, as she's trying to cover this up or come up with a plot to be able to get out of the situation, we learn more about her and her dark past. We learn more about Walter and his dark past that she didn't even know previously. And we meet a bunch of other characters in this town and find out how they're all sort of intertwined in Walter's life in ways that she didn't know. The interesting thing about it is, as you meet these people and the various plot elements start to come together, as a gamer, you're given the option of whether or not to kill these people too. And
Okay.
yeah, it sounds like the first time I'm playing it, I'm like, well, I'm not going to kill anybody because you know what, I'm a gamer, not a fighter. But that's not the way the game kind of like works. It doesn't always get Loretta the best ending. So
Mm.
it's a shorter game that you could play through once and then go back and just make a couple different decisions, and now you've got a completely different story. In fact, you kind of have to do that. The first time I finished it, there were 3 or 4 major plot elements that were not resolved at all. We still got an ending that made sense, but there were certain things like, wait a minute, I didn't open this, or what about that guy who came over with the threat just kind of disappeared? So you kind of play it. You're going to have to play it multiple times. In fact, they sort of equate it to what was it? The Spike Chunsoft game 999, and those
Wow.
games. Does that
I love
ring a bell? They
999.
were old DS games.
That's such a great series of Zero Escape games.
Oh yeah, Zero Escape. Thank you. Yeah, all 3 of them, absolutely fantastic games. That the first one I know you had to play multiple times in order to
Yes,
get the endings you want.
you do
After
have this
that,
2 and 3 as well.
yeah, two and three, you kind of like would hit a point and go back and start differently, so it kind of played a little differently.
Yeah,
But yeah, so it's definitely a game you're going to want to play multiple times, and it's really creepy at parts. Like, as Loretta is kind of like losing her mind or feeling the guilt from the things that she's doing, that's all conveyed with the audio effects in the game, with the visual effects. Um, and it's also cool too because as she's like having bad thoughts, you can interact with dangerous items. Like, say there's an axe, you can't touch it when things are going well, but or no, a shovel. It's a shovel in the house. But once she's heading down a bad path, suddenly now that shovel becomes something that she may need to use, and so now you can actually interact with it and pick it up, and just a lot of elements like that. It's very much got this dark, as I mentioned, cinema noir feel that does a good job of pulling you in.
Wow. Interesting. Yeah, that sounds very interesting. Are you familiar with this at all, Barry? This
no, I
title,
haven't heard of
Loretta?
this
No?
game.
Yeah. Cool.
So many games.
Um, yeah, yeah, exactly. So many games.
Yeah,
So
it's
that one
published
comes
by
out.
Dangan Entertainment. I know I played other games by them
Yeah,
too.
Yeah.
I can't recall the name of the developer right now, with apologies to them.
Yep. That's okay. So that one comes out April 11th. Is that correct?
Hmm.
Nice. And we'll hear your full thoughts when the embargo lifts and we can publish that.
Yep.
Thank you, Kat. Barry, would you like to tell us what you're playing currently?
Uh, well, I'm not playing my Switch currently. I am on the PlayStation right now because the last Switch game I did was Princess Peach, and I'm waiting for something new. But I just got
Yeah, okay.
finished working with Dragon's Dogma 2 on PlayStation, and I haven't been so disappointed in a game in a long time.
Wow.
Dragon's Dogma 2 is just it's archaic. Like I love the first one. I played it on Switch too. And it does plays very well actually on the Switch. I was surprised. But the sequel, it's got a lot of what would be standard quality of life stuff thrown out the window. Like you can fast travel, to towns if you use an item that you pay real money for, and
Oh boy, is that the
and
only way to get it? Is to pay real money?
you can maybe like I think I found like one naturally thus far.
Mm.
Otherwise you have to trek your way. As you fight, your max HP goes down. So even when you get healed back up, you're only healed up to a certain point. So you have to camp, which requires camp supplies, which take a lot of weight. And it is a game based on weight. So the more things you have in your inventory, the slower you are. And it's very frustrating. And or you stay at an inn, which costs money. Or you can get a house, which does cost money, but you can get a house in one town. But then when you're away from it, it doesn't matter. You can't go back to sleep. It's just a lot of nuances, and the worst part, I think, after all that, is the save system. As an RPG player, I love having multiple save slots, so I can save
Hmm.
here, then do something and save it in a different slot just in
Yep.
case. This
Yep.
game does. You get two save slots. The first is an inn save, where you can save at an inn, which costs money to spend the night at the inn and save. But of course, you have to be in a town for that. The second one, you can save anywhere. You can just push start and hit save and continue, which is wonderful. What a wonderful thing. But this game also features an auto save, and that auto save slot is the same as your manual save slot. So if the
What?
game auto saves like before a big creature attacks you or something, and you're in a really crappy position, uh, yeah, you just load up and like you could die, or you're running for
Yeah.
your life, and the only way to to start back up is to load your in save at that point, which is before you left town and who knows how long ago. It's just a
Wow.
terribly archaic system, and I got to the point when I just stopped caring. I'm just like, I'm not having
Yeah.
fun anymore. I'm done. Like, I loved the first game. I'm not continuing this game. I'm moving on.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds super annoying, that save system especially. Like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so archaic. It's like, and I get
Yeah.
it. You want to be a little more tough, and it's fine, but it's just not fun. And especially when you get like bombarded by enemies, like they're charging you and it auto saves, and then every time you load, like the
Mm.
enemies are just charging you, and you
Yeah.
hope you can get out of that. And if you've been out for a while and your health's at like half, like they just hit you when you die, and it's just a mess.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Like, I think they either have to give you the option to autosave or to manually save, not do them both on the same slot because you can't it can't work that way. Like, it just
Yeah,
can't.
even if there was only
Yeah.
one manual save slot and the auto save was a different one, that would be fine in
Yeah.
that regard. But it's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not. It's
Yeah,
the
I
same
don't think
slot.
I've ever seen that combined. I can't think
No.
of a single game where an autosave overwrote one of your save slots. It's
Yeah,
always in its own
it's
Yeah.
little category.
it's so
Yeah.
weird, but it does it
It
in
is
this game.
it's very weird.
And again, this isn't like an old game. This just came out, the same day as Princess Peach. It's last month, March.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's like, oh my
Mm.
God, like Capcom, what are you doing? So I don't know. This isn't on the Switch. I'm sure there'll be a Switch 2 port since the first game got a Switch port. But it's so disheartening because I love the series. I love the anime that came out. It's such a cool concept with the pawns. They're a lot of fun.
Mm.
The world is really cool, but again, when you have to think about taking like Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild, where you can't teleport anywhere, you have to manually. It's like you're in Death Mountain and now you have to go down to the desert for a quest. You have to manually run your way there, and the
Wow.
autosave just overrides your save. So you better hope you're good and you're not in a bad spot. And
Oh my
and oh, you
gosh.
can pay Nintendo, real money to be able to teleport if you want, and it's just bad.
That is yeah, let's hope that doesn't take off at all and become a thing. That won't work. Yeah. Oh, wow. Maybe I mean, if it does eventually come to the Switch or Switch 2, hopefully they fix those kinds of things and give us proper I mean, I can't see Nintendo having a payment system like that for teleportation like that. There's nothing like
There's
that in
other
the Switch, is there?
microtransactions too, but there's a ton of
Yeah.
microtransactions in the game. It's scummy.
Wow. Yeah. And is the game cheaper as a result or not really?
Oh no, it's $70 full price.
Yeah, right. You could
Cheaper? It's Capcom.
that's what I'm thinking. Like, you could maybe understand if it was free to play or, like, at least, a
Oh
cheaper
no, it's
game,
a
but
full price game.
wow, they're really testing something new there. I don't think that's
Y-
gonna take off.
Yeah, no, it's bad. It's very bad. I do not recommend
Wow. Okay,
unless,
well, thank
unless you're a
thank
masochist.
you. Thank you. The other two things these are not games I'm reviewing, these are older games, but I just wanted to mention because I talk about it a lot. I lost Mario Kart 8 Deluxe recently and I found it. It's been missing for like 2 or 3 months now. Finally found it hidden in the depths of my car seats.
Wow.
And
It was in
yeah,
the car seats,
it
just
was in the car seats.
just
It
like
was just
mine.
yeah, exactly. It was just really, really down there. So I'm like, I need to actually look properly and find this thing because I really wanted to play Mario Kart. And I found it. I was like, "Yay!" So, jumped on, of course, and played some Mario Kart. Did pretty badly because 'cause it's been a few months since I played, but that's okay. It's still super fun. The other one is Vampire Survivors, which we kind of mentioned earlier, but do you know what, Barry? This week, with my 2 kids and my nephew, we finally got to the 30-minute mark for the Reaper to appear. We haven't
Oh,
actually
nice.
achieved that before, so I was so excited. And of course the Reaper just took us out and we instantly died. So, but oh my gosh, the seconds, like the kind of 30 seconds or the minute before the Reaper appeared was just insane. Like the number of enemies that come at you. We were just huddled together, the four of us. And, one of us had the garlic power that gives you that shield kind of thing. I had the kind of magic wand kind of leveled up to level 8. We had and I had the Santa water, which is that blue stuff that goes around on the ground that kills enemies. So we literally just sat for the last minute, didn't move, just sat all together with the garlic power protecting us and all the rest. And it was like the whole screen is full of enemies. It's just insane. It's just so crazy. We're like, come on, 10, 9, 8, like counting down. And we finally made it to 30. All the enemies disappear and then the Reaper comes and just takes us out. So I was very satisfied to actually make it to that point though. But I don't know if you're supposed to be able to beat the Reaper. I feel like that's impossible, right? You can't.
It's a life lesson.
Yeah, yeah, that's
You
it.
can huddle
Because I
around
feel
with
like
everybody and fight and fight and fight and be all leveled up. But yeah, when your time comes, your time comes. So just,
yeah,
have
exactly.
something exciting to count down to before it happens.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. Thank you. So yes, I was very pleased to finally get it. And we tried to record it on the Switch. You know, how you can record, is it like
Yeah.
30 seconds of video? Someone leveled up during the last 30 seconds and they took too long to select their power or whatever. So we missed the actual the recording ended.
Aw.
And I didn't get it because I would have posted this on social. I would have been, "Yay, look at this, we made it." We got to, like, the last 5 seconds and then the video cut out and no one pressed it again, so we didn't get the actual ending, but that's okay, that's okay. We know, the 4 of us know. We have this the pact that we all know we did it, so we don't have proof, but
It's
that's okay. Yeah.
it's like
Um
a secret bond.
Yes, yes, exactly. And usually it's me, like my nephew, he's the same age as my kids, like they're all around 10 to 13. And every time my nephew comes over, because he likes to play games with my kids, of course, and I'm the one who's like, "Hey guys, can we play Vampire Survivors? Let's try to make it to half an hour this time." We've tried it so many times, and this time we actually did it. So yay. This is what makes me super excited for something like Scarlet Tower now to have a new style to give a
Oh
go
yeah.
and try and conquer that one. So looking forward to that. But yeah, that's my wrap of the week. So very cool. Anything else we wanted to say before we close things off from you, Barry, or from you, Kirk?
Well, I think I'm all set.
All set? Yeah, the
Except
hour
It
yeah.
was
goes
great to
quickly.
meet you, Barry, and thank you for coming on and talking about these games. I'm looking forward to quite a few of them.
No, thank you so much for having me, and I hope you enjoyed the direct. We always try and put on an entertaining show. I mean, the games themselves are from the developers, and their messages are from the developers, but we want to put
Mm,
on an entertaining show in between those parts, and just give everyone time to digest the games. And we're really, really happy with our lineup, and it's all about just constantly providing an outlet for these awesome games and giving gamers what they want, access to fantastic games complete on cart and preserved.
yeah, exactly. And I do love, I have to say, I think I talk about this every time you're on. The introduction to your directs changes each time. And this one
Yes, it
was really
does.
cool with the little TV screens. I thought that
Thank
was a
you.
really
Yeah.
neat way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Who's
the
your who's your video guy again?
Tristan's our video guy. He
Tristan.
he he
Yeah.
does the direct itself, and he does those opening things. That was my idea. I can't do shit, but I'm an idea guy. So like I write the script for the direct, but I also that was my idea. I was talking with him one night. I said I got an idea
Oh,
for
cool.
the
Nice.
opener. So I told him, and he was like, I understand exactly what you're doing. Like I get it. So he put it
Oh,
together and he showed me. I was like, yes, you read my mind, like perfect. So
awesome.
I wish I could do what he can do. I can't. And he come like the book was his idea, the corkboard was his idea, and
The corkboard was cool. That one stood
and
out. I like that.
the
Yeah.
10 plus one, which was series 5, that was his idea too. And the state of premium was mine, and this one was mine. And
Very cool.
I've got some ideas going forward for some new ones to try, always one up it. And we joke around a lot, like as this it's going to get longer and longer and longer because we always highlight all of our games, and like how can we do it like
Yeah.
without taking, like this was a minute and a half long. It's like how can we
Mhm.
do it without boring, but people really like the opening, so that's always cool. But like
Yeah.
next time with the Kickstarter section is going to have to be broken into two. It's going to be like the previous Kickstarters, and then it's going to like the updates and then new Kickstarters. And that will be a
Yeah.
little thing that I can drop for you guys, is that there
Yeah.
may be a potential, like we had Godshard Chronicles, which launched on February 29th and ended on April 2nd. But before it ended, we had Atomic Owl, and it was kind of like daisy chained. There
Mhm.
might be another one coming either right before Atomic Owl ends or right after, or the same day as another daisy chain into another brand
Cool.
new Kickstarter that is
Yeah.
not announced yet.
Nice. Okay. We look forward to hearing what that is. So we should stay tuned to your socials for that information.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Awesome. Teaser. Nice teaser there. Thank you. And you can also catch you, I assume, but definitely the team across various conferences or conventions across
Hmm.
the country, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out for. Do you go to those as well sometimes?
I've been to quite a bit of them, but now that I have a 9-month-old right now,
Yeah.
I'm staying home. It's a little more hectic with him around, and I
Yeah.
don't want to go to a convention and pick up some kind of con crud and then give it to
Yeah.
him because he's so young right now. So it's like
Yeah.
I don't need that extra headache. But we do have a great team that goes. In fact, this weekend or the previous weekend, by the time this goes live, Midwest Gaming Classic, our team will be there, and we do a lot of convention exclusive games. So like Midwest Classic, Gaming Classic has Wonderling as an exclusive Wonderling DX. We were just at Game On a few weeks ago that had an exclusive Ran Your Parade. More and more conventions are reaching out to do their own exclusive versions of games with us, which is awesome.
That's
So if
cool.
you
Yeah.
like that kind of stuff, you can go for it. It's just the slipcover is different and the dog tag is different. It's not like they have a different cart. It's the same cart
Mm.
revision. Everything else is the same.
Hmm.
It's just something cool for the collector, and it helps the cons themselves attract more of an audience, which is always good.
Yeah.
We want to help them succeed because conventions are important, we feel. So yeah,
Yeah.
we always
Absolutely.
have people all over the United States, and just come find us, come say hi, come say hey. I heard you guys on Pure Nintendo. Let us know. That'd be great. And
Yeah.
I look forward to eventually getting back into the convention circuit. They're always fun. It's always wonderful to meet people. But they're busy.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. They're hectic. Yes. And I've only been to one, but I can. It's a good time, but it's a busy time. But yeah. So keep an eye out for the team premium edition games at upcoming conventions around the country, around the US. Thank you so much for joining us, Barry. Really appreciate your time and your insights. Love hearing about all these awesome games. Listeners should get on board. Go to premiumeditiongames.com. Check out what's on offer at the moment. Thank you, Kirk, for joining me again this week. As
Yep.
always, love chatting to you about all things Nintendo. And thank you, listeners. If you would like to support us, you can head on over to patreon.com/pure Nintendo. You can grab our regular magazine that we put out. Current issue's out now, and we're going to start working on our next one soon. If you'd like to follow us, you can head on over to Twitter/X or Mastodon or Blue Sky. And until next week, thank you and game on, everybody. Bye.
Have a good one.